Yo, how y'all doing this lovely afternoon? Today we're going to be talking about what you might need if you were a college art student. So this is going to be painting specific because I am painting and that's what I'm doing. And also like this will be helpful if you're taking like painting 1 or 2, or if you're trying to do a BFA in painting like me. And this will also be even more specific to acrylic paint, because if I tried to go into watercolor, this video would be like eternal. So I have a couple of categories. I have like a general category of things that you might need that you might not know about. Then we have the obvious things that I'm going to mention that you probably would know that you would need, but you know, I'm going to mention them anyway just in case. And then we also have a section that is specific to sketching. So like if you sketch before you paint, this stuff will be useful to you. Let's hop right in. First thing you're going to need, get you a palette. But not just any palette. Get you a glass palette. You see why? Okay. Glass palettes are like incredibly smooth. Like, okay, they're really nice to spread your paint on, and you can easily wipe your paint off while it's wet. And even if it's not wet, you can always use one of these to get it off. You can use a scraper, and these come with replaceable blades. And basically, what you can do is just like scrape it. Like, it takes a little bit of elbow grease, but you scrape this paint off with the scraper even after it's dry. So this is why this is useful. And if you're worried about this glass breaking, it breaks like car glass, so you don't have to worry about it stabbing you. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for this. Next thing that you might need is a waterproof, airtight palette. Airtight palettes are like really useful for keeping your paint wet, as you might realize. Okay, so this is actually a watercolor palette, and it's by a company called Mihelo. I don't know. It's Mijello. You can get this on Amazon because that's where I got mine from. And it looks like this in the front, and this is the company name, just in case, you know. Anyway, so this is a watercolor palette. You know, it has like wells and stuff like that for you to put watercolor in and like spread it on. But I use this bottom piece the most, and this paint has actually been wet for like a month or two, so that's why I love this. This right here, this is dry, but this has been in here for like 2 months. So, but this right here, here's your proof, it is wet. So, okay, didn't really think that through, but yeah, I showed you. So yeah, so it works really well. And it'll save your life if you're like mixing paint, you're afraid of like that color, you're not being able to mix it again, or if you just don't want to waste your paint because it's expensive. So yeah. All right, next thing that you will need. By the way, airtight palette is not a necessity. You can very much like paint without that palette. Very much a necessity. Not necessary for it to be glass, but it's really good if it's glass. And you can get smaller ones than that, because that's like 11 by 14. I want to get a smaller one from Hobby Lobby. Anyway, so airtight palette from Amazon, glass palette from Jerry's Artorama, which is a store that's like local to here. I don't know if they have that in other states, but you can also get it at like Hobby Lobby too. Moving on. Next thing you might need is this brush, which I've been flaunting around for whatever. Anyway, so this switch brush is really useful for like spreading gesso on your canvases if you're using canvases. Okay, so this just gets the job done quick. This is pretty much why it's useful. Yeah, okay. Next thing, you will need a mister. And so I know you've seen like those big old misting bottles, but you actually don't need like something that big. I got one of these from Hobby, 3 of these actually. That comes with a pack of 3. This is a mister, and it allows you to keep your paint wet when you're working with it, because when you're working with acrylic, it will dry on you. So it's always useful to have this. Like, where did I spray this at? Okay, you can see it's a mister. Okay, and so that doesn't over water down like your paint, and it helps keep it wet so that you can keep working with it and not waste it. All right, next thing. Yeah, so that was pretty much all the general things that you might not know that you'll need. Now we're gonna move on to the obvious things. All right, when I say obvious, I mean obvious. Get you some brushes, okay? You knew this, okay? But all you probably need is about 8 of them. That's what I started off with. I didn't have any more than, I didn't have any more than 8 brushes when I started off. And if you get 3 different brushes, like a round brush, like this little square brush right here, and then like a mop brush, I think this is called, or whatever. If you get these 3 different kind of brushes and then like smaller versions of them, it'll give you a lot of like variety and a lot of different like options as far as like how you want to paint. You can cut down more than this, like, but if you'll limit yourself a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The second obvious thing you're gonna need, okay, so a palette knife basically helps you mix your paint and move it around the canvas if you want to. You can use it like you would use a brush and spread it around the canvas. Use palette knives however you want to, but it's primarily for mixing paint. All right, next thing you'll need is a canvas. Like, I personally like using these kind of canvases right here. This is like a canvas panel is what it's called, and it's like just like canvas on top of cardboard, and it's really easy and light to carry around. But you can get regular canvases too. You know, that's typically what most people get. But yeah, and then, okay, next obvious thing, napkins. You will need a napkin, and what you can use this for specifically is, like, of course, cleaning up messes, but also the main thing I use it for is cleaning off my palette knife. So when you're mixing paint, this palette knife is going to get like dirty, and you don't want to transfer one paint to another. Like, you don't want to mix black with your white, because that'll make gray, and you want to keep your white and your black separate. So like in between mixing paint and using paint, you just wipe it off in between these little folds. Like this, I like to fold mine so that I have like little places to wipe my palette knife off in. But yeah, that's pretty much the main usage of that. All right, next thing you will need is something to put on while you're painting, because you'll get dirty. Okay, so you can wear like some raggedy clothes if you want to paint in, but if you're going to class, you might not want to just like, you might have a class after that. You don't want to be wearing like raggedy clothes to class and then wear them to your next class. What gives you more freedom is if you wear an apron, but personally what I like to do is I like just wearing this shirt, to be honest. It's like a men's shirt that I think I thrifted it, I don't know. Just, it's like an old fishing shirt from somebody's grandpa, and it's big enough to cover like me and like my legs and stuff like that. So like I can wear whatever I want under it and just put this on top and then take it right back off afterwards, and then not have a smudge or anything on my clothes. You know, the hands will be dirty, but everything else will be clean. All right, another obvious thing that you would need is a backpack or some kind of bag. You need something to carry your stuff in, because you gotta tote it around campus. So get you a bag, you know, get you a backpack though, because like if you get you a bag that's like one shoulder, your shoulder finna like be hurting bad. So backpacks is just, it's just gonna be easier to carry your stuff, because our stuff is heavy. Like, just don't do that to yourself. Save your back, okay? Anyway, another obvious thing, get you something to hold your paint in. I personally like to carry mine in this like zip up bag, and so that it allows me to just like change the shape of it however I need to fit it in my bag or whatever. But yeah, this came from Jerry's. Again, don't know if the store is all over the country or not, but you know. So yeah, that's what you need for your paint. And then also you need a bag for your paint brushes, so that you can keep them nice and pristine and don't ruin the bristles, so that you have to keep buying brushes. You see what I'm saying? All right, that I believe, let's check, that was all the obvious stuff that you would need. So now we're gonna move on to the stuff you might need for sketching. All right, if you sketch before you paint, which you don't have to, there's a variety of things you're gonna need. So obviously, if you're sketching, you're gonna need a sketch book. This is actually a drawing book, but you know, I sketch in it anyway. I just don't like sketch paper. I don't like how sketch paper feels. So this feels a lot better. It's a heavier kind of paper. And so anyway, but yeah, make sure you get it the same size as your canvas though, if you're gonna sketch it, because it makes it so much easier to transfer, and I'll show you in a second why. So the reason you want to get it the same size as your canvas is because when you go to transfer your sketch to your canvas, it'll just fit right on top, and you can like tape it or whatever. but then you just draw on top of it. Simple like that. The way I transfer is I colored like a whole nother sheet of paper, which actually leads into the next thing we'll need, surprisingly. A woodless pencil. Now, not a necessity. Not a necessity. However, this thing is like useful. Okay, like this is just basically, this one's like messed up. I used the crap out of that one. But basically they're just pencils without wood, as the name states. And what you can do is just like color an entire sheet of sketch paper, like I did here. Put the color side face down on the canvas, then put your sketch on top of it so that you can trace on top. So like, say, I'm not gonna do it, but you will put this side down on the canvas, then you will put this on top of the canvas and the transfer graphite colored paper, and then you just trace, and it'll transfer onto your paper. So yeah, it's just, these are really useful to color on top of, like, color the sketch paper with, because like they have so much of that graphite exposed, you know. It just makes it easier to cover more ground. Yeah, so okay. Last thing you'll need is some kind of portfolio to hold your loose sketches in. So obviously, to transfer this sketch onto paper, I had to take it out of my sketchbook. So I tried to put it back in my sketchbook, but of course, since it's detached from it, it's not gonna just stay in there. So it kept falling out all the time. So this portfolio was really useful, and it's like the exact size I need to be. It's an 11 by 14. Well, it's bigger than that, so that it can hold 11 by 14 stuff. But you know, it just holds my loose sketches. And yeah, it even has like a little pocket in the front. I use this to hold like reference images basically, but it's a little pocket to put extra stuff in, and it zips closed like this. But yeah, so that concludes all the stuff that you will need, you know. Also, you might not need that portfolio. If you need to cut it out, you can, but it just makes it like so much easier. You don't have to worry about that loose sketch falling out your sketchbook, you know. Anyway, so most of my materials came from either Jerry's Artarama or they came from Hobby Lobby. So, you know, check out those stores if you want to get that stuff. But, you know, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so hope this was helpful. You know, if y'all want more content like this, let me know. I apologize for not being able to get into like the actual paint itself, but you know, I can do another video for that as well if need be, you know. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.